search and rescue and was there in the water. There were also volunteers and neighbors who went into the water to save people. Amazing thing. I think God's hand was on a lot of people in this community as lives were saved. It was horrible to lose 102 people, but we know there could have been many, many more had the warnings and the rescues and the hard work that was done not happened. So thank you for that. We ended up having more than 1,300 roads that were closed. You all know how difficult it was to get around in western North Carolina. Now we are down to fewer than 300. So many roads have opened. We have a lot of work to do. We're going to need significant federal and state money to repair these roads and make them stronger than ever, but that has to be a priority. Western North Carolina roads in general just cost more because of the topography, so we've got to make sure that our state and federal government are aware of all of that. More than a million people had lost power. Now it's down to around 1,000, and that number has been fluctuating, but a lot of work has been done. The Department of Transportation worked closely with utilities to clear roads, to get them into places. Your folks helped with a lot of that. That was positive. Schools are back up and running in most places. Others have set dates to open schools. That's a positive thing, and I want to take a minute to thank our public schools, our teachers, and our principals. A number of our schools operated as distribution centers. I talked to a number of teachers and principals who were really connected with their students and their families. They were making calls. They were checking on them. Have we got all of our children accounted for? It was amazing how these public schools did that. Public schools from across the state sent staff and counselors to schools to help. And I think it shows us how much our public schools are such an important part of our communities and our livelihoods, particularly in our rural areas. And we must be committed to continuing support for them, as well as helping them to rebuild and recharge out of all of this. We know we have many water and wastewater systems that are back up and running, but there are challenges that remain for a few systems and one big one. And we know that we need significant funding to reinforce and make stronger our water and wastewater infrastructure as we go forward. I'm proud of many businesses that have opened back up. I think it's really important, and I started this several weeks ago, but touting western North Carolina as a place to be, like right now in many places, because this fall economy is critical. And what we do is tell people to go to drivenc.gov and check to see if the roads are open. Call ahead to make sure that the places that you want to see are open, but get out there and spend your money and help western North Carolina recover. I think it's important that we do that. Yes, there are things that are devastated, and yes, we need to work really hard in making sure that we repair all of these things, but we can't forget the fact that this economic loss has been significant, and we got to start right now in all of the places that are ready to go. But the small businesses that were damaged need significant help. I talked to a number of them. I had gatherings of them, and some of them are thinking, do I start again? Do I open back up? There are many in western North Carolina right now who are in the middle of this decision-making process. Low interest, good term loans are nice. It ain't enough, in my opinion, for a lot of these small businesses. We have to be ready to provide grants for them to get going and to assure them that we can get going. One of the things that I heard from small businesses, and this is the way small businesses are, they were worried about their employees. You know, my employees, it's going to be hard for me to pay them. We are closed. We're trying to figure out what to do. And they found out that our maximum unemployment was $350 a week. And they were complaining to me about how can anybody live on $350 a week? What I did was go ahead and issue an executive order pushing that up to $600 a week. We've got plenty of money in the trust fund, plenty of money. No taxes have to be raised. It's going to make a very, very, very small dent in the trust fund, and we can show that to you. But the Western North Carolina counties, it also ends at 12 weeks, you know, and I think all of this is too little and too short to start with, but let's put that aside. This executive order extends it to 26 weeks for the western counties that are affected by this. So that can work to help keep those employees in the area to provide help for them. But these grants are going to be critical. And I have proposed a grant program to the General Assembly. I did it the last time they met. They didn't fund it the last time, but I hope that you guys will talk with them about funding it when they come back in a week, because we need to get this going. And it's something we've done before. We did this during the pandemic based on sales tax. We've got a formula. All we've got to do is plug in the money. It works in the North Carolina Department of Revenue. And I think it's really critical that we give these businesses this grant money so that they can get back on their feet and make that decision, okay, I am going to give this a try. I am going to stay in Western North Carolina. We know that we are on the front end of recovery. The response phase to this, tons and tons of food and water and cold weather gear, supplies, medicines, so many heroism stories of getting insulin to people, getting oxygen to people, getting cancer drugs to people. It's been amazing what has been done. But now we've got to plan for this long-term recovery and making sure that we go about it in the right way and secure the money for it. We know that Congress has got to step up, and I'm glad that our senators and representatives are going to be engaged in this and already have been, and I've talked to them, and I'm grateful for that. But we know that this is going to take billions of dollars. So we've got to have our act together to make sure that we can invest this money the right way. We have already worked on, and we've got the framework of a federal request. It will be augmented and supplemented and maybe changed by what you all report today, which I appreciate. But that's going to be a significant number that we will ask our members of Congress to present and ask of the federal agencies. I've made a request to state legislature for $3.9 billion. We need that money now because a lot of this federal funding comes a lot later. We have to front the money. Y'all have to front the money. The state has to front the money. So we know we got a lot to do, so we're going to need that. Our small business grants need help. And one of the big issues that we found in Tropical Storm Fred, and we were successful with this, is our private roads and bridges, which aren't covered by a lot of the federal stuff. We are working now with FEMA, and Administrator Criswell may have talked with you about it this morning. We're working on them funding a portion of this, which we hope we can do, but we're going to need state government to help us because these private roads and bridges connect not only people's homes but entire communities. We were very successful with Tropical Storm Fred, and I thank the state legislature for having the wisdom to appropriate money for us to do that, and I think we built back 125 of them, and many of those survived this storm, which is a good thing and a positive thing. So that's going to be important. And I will say, lastly, that as a state legislature, they're really going to have to think about priorities here and understanding that this storm's going to take a big chunk out of this and future budgets. And we got income tax cuts and corporate tax cuts and other things that are coming into play, and so the predictions are that we've got a smaller and smaller amount of money to meet the needs of an ever-growing state coming in. So we got to make sure that the legislature prioritizes this recovery in the competition for lots of good things that are out there. So I would urge you all, particularly when there are other things that pop up that may be new or that may be expanded that would be less important than recovery, then you all need to be standing up for that. It's time for us to all come together. I've talked to many of you all in this group from time to time. I believe that we will. I believe in Western North Carolina. I believe in their determination, their courage, their stamina, their resilience. Almost everybody I've talked through to, no matter how much hell they went through, they are upbeat, determined, and want to rebuild stronger than ever. Let's just make sure we come together to help them do it. I look forward to listening to your reports. I'm going to go right down there where I'm supposed to be. And I thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Governor, thank you so much for being with us today, sir. Friends, before we come to the meat of the day and start our report outs, we do want to recognize United States Senator, our friend Senator Tom Tillis, who's in the room. There he is. Good to see you, Senator. At this time, we will hear from our 5 breakout groups. I want to remind those who are reporting out the findings that you will be limited to 15 minutes and that it is important that we stick to this time limit so that everyone can be heard. Also, as we engage in these breakout reporting, let's all listen with intention and purpose as we hear what each other has to say. Some of this will no doubt fit in with your experiences, but there will also be opportunities to learn from the experiences of others and think more about how we might work together to address the challenges ahead. Finally, know that the information that we gain from these sessions and what we hear now will not just disappear into the ether. Our organizations will take steps to follow up and ensure that the findings from today become part of the effort to advocate on behalf of Western North Carolina recovery. So with that said, I'm going to call on the speakers from each group, and I'm going to ask, there's 3, at least three folk in each group from High Country, Foothills, Land of Sky, Southwestern Commission, and Western Piedmont. So I'm going to ask our first group from High Country, Mayor Doug Matheson of Blowing Rock, Commissioner Dennis Aldridge of Avery County, and Julie Wiggins, Executive Director, High Country Council of Government, to come to the stage and report out. Let's welcome them as they come.